you should be playing this game if you're a Dr. Stone fan. Many drop it after misunderstanding the game's mechanics as unimpressive and unengaging, or because the story mode cutscenes aren't animated. But if you give Battlecraft a chance, you'll find there's much to enjoy. The truth, however, is far from that. Battlecraft has interesting mechanics that require thoughtful team building, has a roster of over 100 SSR characters, with all your favorite Dr. Stone cast getting representation, even newer characters like Luna Wright, all with beautiful illustrations, and even though the story mode isn't animated, it has its own charm to it, in my opinion at least. Currently there are no content creators for this game that are still active, barely any online communities, and only a few guide, wikis, and websites. Despite the game going strong for its 5th year now, there isn't much of a community presence. There are many reasons for the lack of a deserving player base, besides people dropping the game too early. Namely, downloading the game in the first place can be a bit complicated, and there's essentially no attempt from the game's team to market Battlecraft. Regardless, events are quite competitive, and there are clearly thousands of players who enjoy the game still monthly. In this video, I'll show you how to download Battlecraft yourself, wherever you are in the world, and talk about the game's most important mechanics, and how you can reroll for your favorite characters. I'll also point to all the resources and any communities that I found in the 4 months I've been playing this game. If you want to see some of the hundreds of cards available in this game and the incredible artworks, then stick to the end of the video. But without further ado, let's get into the first section where I will teach you how to download Battlecraft. So in 2021, the game officially released for Japanese version. Only in 2023 did it come out for the global version, which is English of course, but it only is available in the Play Store if you are in a North American continent. So if you are not, then this next part is going to be extremely relevant to you. So you need to go and download Q app. Well, this is essentially a launcher that has all the different anime games you could want. There's a bit of suspicious artworks on here, but just skip past that and then go to the search bar and just search up Dr. Stone and Battlecraft. You see what I mean? It's very suspicious, but yeah, so just go to the search bar. This also works for any other anime game you want, especially if you are wanting to play on the Japanese version. But just search up Dr. Stone, and I'm pretty sure this is the only result that you will see. So Battlecraft, yes, if you are not in North America, you won't be able to make in-app purchases. So if you are someone who is a whale and you're gonna try and collect all the characters and you're not in North America or in Japan, then you might have a hard time. But here's Battlecraft. If you don't have the game downloaded, you can just press the big download button at the bottom here. For me, of course, I've already have downloaded it, so you won't see that. And then I'll just show you guys quickly the official site for Q app, just so you make sure you don't click on any viruses. So in any browser you have here, I'm in Chrome of course, search up Q app and then go to the first link here, www.qapp.com, and just search up Dr. Stone, any game you want, and then it'll automatically download the app for you. There's not an exact download button anyway, just click install for Dr. Stone for instance, and then you will see that it will start downloading through the browser, and then you just have to click on the installation thing, and then you will see that it'll warn you that it's a virus because it's something you're downloading from the browser. But don't worry, just click OK, and then you can get Q app and then download Dr. Stone in here. So once again, you'd have to click this big button here, but since I already have Q app installed, it just redirected me to the app. But yeah, that is essentially how you are going to download this game if you're not in North America. But when it comes to Dr. Stone itself, this is a game that is quite easy to reroll in. So, as I said, there are many different characters here, and I am going to explain to you guys the mechanics of the game. So you definitely want to make sure that you are going to be rerolling for a character that is an arrival character, not a revival character. So, in this game, there are three types of pullable characters. There's arrival recruits, revival recruits, and then finally the premium recruits. So when you start the game, you get through the tutorial and everything, The first thing you'll get is a free Tsukasa. He is a low rarity character. If you go here, you get this Tsukasa for free. He's not a very good character. He is quite interesting though. He's an area attacker, which is quite important. This is something that will be crucial to making a really good team, because area attackers hit a bunch of enemies within a range. So if a character has a high attack stat and they're an area attacker, then they are definitely valuable. But some units, they are area attackers, but their attack stat is horrendous. So there definitely is different characters and stats that you have to look out for. But yeah, let's just quickly analyze what each of these tabs mean for individual characters here. So on the levels tab, of course, also you can just click on the artwork here and you can move them around if you want to. And of course, characters are voiced besides maybe the recent characters like Luna, Stanley, and Dr. Zeno. Those characters are not yet voiced. But yeah, on the levels tab, you can see the rarity of the character. This symbol here means the character is a fighter type unit. There are 5 different types in the game. There's fighter, ranged, assault, support, and tank. If you are going to be building a team, you want to find a good balance between all of these types. You want to have a good variety. So Tsukasa here, he is a fighter type unit, of course. He is a rare, which is the lowest rarity. I don't know why did they call it rare if it's the most common one? This should be like N or something, like in Dokkan Battle where it means normal, because this is not a rare whatsoever. Anyways, Tsukasa Empire, Tsukasa Shishio. He has an HP attack, he has an HP stat, attack stat, defense stat, and then these 3 here, which are essential to how good a character is. So first one is movement speed, and if you did the tutorial, you saw that the way that this game works is you send out your characters, and then they essentially march towards the enemy's base, where the enemy will try and stop them from destroying their base. Movement speed is definitely one of the least important of these 3, but it is still quite important to consider. So then we have action speed. Now, if you are working with any of the types besides support, this is essentially how often the character is going to attack. If you are working with a support style character, this is how often they will have their support effect activate. So all ally restore 2.8% of their HP. So when it comes to support units, having their action speed is probably the most important metric for support characters. Their stats do not really matter since they are not attacking at all, and their HP is also quite insignificant. They are going to be hiding behind your offensive style units, so you really don't care about their stats as long as they have a good support effect and a decent action speed, and maybe also a decent movement speed. Those are the only things you really care about. Toughness. Now, toughness is something that I actually didn't understand for a while when I started playing this game. Toughness is essentially how prone a character is to taking knockback. Now, of course, the victory condition in this game here is going to be destroying the enemy's base. So, of course, you need to get past the enemies and destroy their base. But if you're... The same applies to you, of course. The enemy can kill you and all of your units and then destroy your base. The other victory condition, besides like destroying all your units, of course, the condition is the same. No matter what, the battle is going to end when one of either you or your enemy's base is destroyed. But even if your units do not die, like all of your units could be alive, but you still lose. And that's because you take too much knockback and the enemy pushes you towards your base. Toughness is absolutely crucial because all of your tank units, they're going to have tough as their toughness, which is, I mean, pretty on the head, but yeah. All units that are tank style are going to have a toughness of tough, and this just means that they're going to take no knockback, which means that you won't get screwed over by your unit still being alive, but you still lose because you get pushed back by the enemy. So that's why having a tank on your team is essential. Tanks are probably the most important characters in the game. Tanks can also like attack. They can be offensive style units as well. They do have an attack stat unlike support units. They just tend to be much lower than your fighters, ranged, and assault type units. But recently there has been a kind of a shift in the meta. I mean, there's really isn't much of a meta in this game, but recently they've tried to make tanks more offensive. Like this Matsukaze here, he is an area attacker, and as you can see, his attack stat is very high. He's also probably the best tank in the game in terms of high HP, high defense, and also, of course, not being able to take knockback. So Matsukaze, if you get this guy, he's the best tank in the game, like hands down. This guy, he came out, I think, last month, but yeah, there's a lot of characters to talk about. I will make a tier list in the near future for this game. Of course, I've only had time to engage with the characters that I have in my box. So Stanley, Matsukaze, Bar and Poker Francois. This is a theme character. If you did watch Season 4 Part 1, where Ryusui fights Senku in a game of Bar and Poker, we did get a Kohaku, a Ryusui, an Ukyo, and also a Francois. All of them are Bar and Poker units, so there is a theme. There's a lot of different groups of characters regarding different themes. We have an industrial set of characters. We have beach characters. Snowing, like winter themed units, Christmas, New Year's. There's so many different like amazing characters you can collect in this game, so very, very fun. But that's basically the stats. The one I didn't talk about yet is defense. Defense is probably the most important stat in comparison to HP. Defense, every single enemy that attacks you has to penetrate your defense before starting to deal damage. So every attack that the enemy like hits you with, if the enemy does like say 3000 damage, they are never going to deal damage to Matsukaze because his defense is 3030. It's not like they have to break down his defense with multiple attacks. Each individual attack has to get past the 3030 defense before he starts dealing damage to Matsukaze. So if you have a high defense and there's a wave of mobs, there's a ton of mobs, then the defense is probably the most crucial stat to have high. Now, most tanks only have about 1000 defense, so Matsukaze, I don't even have this guy maxed, and he is still easily the most amazing tank in terms of his stats, both HP, defense, and also attack. HP, of course, is also crucial, but not as important as defense, in my opinion. For your tanks, you want to make sure they have at least 10,000 HP. But for now, I think that's at least the most basic thing that you need to know. Of course, there are characters that are both area attackers and single target attackers. This Stanley is one of the best single attackers in the game. He has an exceptional attack stat, and he also increases his own attack with his skills. Skills are just these abilities that the characters always have active. It's not like an ability that you need to activate in the middle of the quest. No matter what, always in the battle, if the character is up, meaning they're not dead, if they are on the field, then they're active, their skill will be active. So these are incredibly important. If a unit has incredible stats, high action speed, and also is a tank, but their skills are terrible, then you don't want to really consider them. Leader skill, if you put a character first in the first slot, then they will become the leader, and throughout the quest you'll have your leader skill that you can activate. It does have a cooldown, and it varies depending on the character and how high of a level you have the leader skill at, but these skills can definitely change the tide of the battle. Like if you have a terrible leader skill, it can ruin you. So I mean, there's different types of leader skills. Some of them can freeze the enemy, which just stops them from doing anything for a few seconds. So this again is a good example of that. We have others like Matsukaze, who increases the stats of he increases tank type allies defense by 60% for 10 seconds. So you can see why this is quite a powerful skill based on how important defense is. There are also different ones like Senku. This is the free one you get at the start. 150 damage to all opponents. It's insignificant, but early game, it's pretty nice to have. And then also characters like Stanley, who just give a flat increase in everyone's attack for 5 seconds. So I've used this one quite a bit. It does give a lot of extra damage. But I think for now, that was a bit of an information overload. just a general rule, you want to have 2 tanks, 1 support unit, and a ranged fighter and assault unit on your team. 2 tanks because enemies do an incredible amount of damage nowadays. The good thing about Matsukaze, since he's the best tank in the game, if you put him as the leader, he himself is good enough. He counts as 2 tanks basically. He's just that good, this Matsukaze. But generally, you want to have 2 tanks on your team. You want to have a support character, and then you want a fighter. Okay, that's not the one you want. You want this Tsukasa, or your best tank, whoever it is. A good ranged character, not Ukyo, again. And then also a good assault unit. So this Hyoga, this is an event character. You didn't pull for this unit, you played for him. But he's one of the best characters in the game. Like, the second I saw his kit, and the fact that he's a Hyoga character, of course, and he's an area attacker, I was like, man, I need to get this Hyoga. And it was definitely worth it. He and this Tsukasa both are area attackers. Them along with Stanley, like, I'd rather use Stanley instead of this Gen. Having 1 single target unit who does a lot of damage and then 2 area attackers, man oh man, you just destroy the enemy. So yeah, that's generally what you want. You don't need to have 1 of each type of offensive. You don't need a fighter, ranged, and assault. It's just a good guideline to have, but you just need 3 offensive units at least from those 3 categories. Now let's talk about the Gacha, everyone's favorite part of any Gacha game. So this game, it does give you a lot of resources at the start. Like, if you just play the game for like 1 or 2 days seriously, you'll have like 30,000 gems, which is enough for 10 multiples. But you want to use this currency very sparingly because you do not get a lot of gems every month. There are 2 types of gems, free gems and paid gems. If you do want to do this recruit, which is 100 gems instead of 300 for a single, you can do one of those every day with paid gems. Of course, as I said, if you live outside of Japan or North America, I don't think you can make in-app purchases. I have tried before, and it just does not work for me, at least. You can try at least. I know someone in Canada, which I think is in North America. For them, it works perfectly fine. But yeah, there are 3 types of recruits. There's revival recruits, which is old characters that are returning, arrival recruits, which are new characters that were just added to the game, and then finally the premium recruit. You never want to pull on this banner, never pull on this. These units are super old. They came out when the game started and they have not received any type of upgrade since then. As a new player, they can be valuable, but essentially the second mid-game arrives, these characters are obsolete, besides the support units. Remember, as I said earlier, support characters, their stats are irrelevant, so it's hard for them to get outdated. So for instance, this Senku here in the middle, I still use him quite a bit. This Yuzuriya is also a support unit, she can be helpful. But even then, in this game, surprisingly, like the lowest rarity, these N characters, I think their rarity is. These guys are honestly some of the best supports in the game, and the reason for that being, you get all the dupes to max them out. In this game, if you get duplicates of a character, if you get up to 10 duplicates of a character, you can max their skills out. And what it does, it just improves the effect of your skill 1 and skill 2. Of course, N characters, the lower rarities, have only 1 skill. But regardless, like this Yuzuriha, she just gives all of your allies a 20% increase in defense. Like, this is an incredible effect. The SSR version that you get from the premium recruit isn't this good when she doesn't have any dupes. So, like, honestly, early game, all you need are these guys. Like, you really shouldn't be focusing on support characters, pulling for them when you start the game, because these guys are good enough. The Ruri, Yuzuriya, and also the Senku, these guys are good enough. Just get the dupes, which you just need to clear like the first few missions. You get the dupes for these characters and you are golden. When it comes to tanks though, you need a good tank, like look for a tank that is an arrival character and pull for them. Like, at that point, you should be safe. Now, you will sometimes get SSR tickets. SSR is, of course, the highest rarity that you want to get. You get SSR tickets from like just clearing some of these missions for the higher missions, and also for clearing ranking events, getting up to a high point. I think at 750,000 points, you get a guaranteed SSR ticket. Now, don't be naive. At the start of the game, I always thought that this was every pull, all characters in the game. This is only the premium recruit characters. These are the jank characters, the ones I was talking about. Some of them are still good. I mean, Francois, Ryusui, and Kinro. Those three from the premium recruits, those characters are still relevant. So if you get any of those three, you should be happy. Also, Minami, the girl with the camera. 4 of those 4 characters are still exceptional. This Ryusui, yeah, and this Senku is still great. He's definitely the best support units that you can get from the premium recruit. This Ginro sucks, the one on the right. Don't worry about him. Who else do I have? This Kinro. This is the one from the premium recruit. Watch out for this guy. He's great because he can knock back the enemy. So, as I said before, you want to have a tank so that you don't get pushed back and your base gets destroyed even though all of your units are still alive. The same can apply to the enemy. If the enemy doesn't have any tanks, you can take advantage of them by using units that knock back the enemies and essentially clear the quest extremely quick because you don't even have to kill them. So definitely look out for characters that deal knockback, such as this Kinro. And of course, he's not a bad tank. I have him maxed here, and his stat is 8500 at HP and 1800 defense. Pretty good, and he also attacks fairly fast with a bit fast action speed. Rank up is just essentially the game's limit break feature, which just increases your character's stats. That's all it does. Doesn't improve their skills, just their stats. So you need these crystals, which you get from playing in daily quests. If you go into the enhancements / mini event stage, yeah, you can see Book of Experience. This is your leveling up materials. This is the highest rarity, the orange one, medium, and then the lowest rarity on the left. Then you have the rank up materials. These are the crystals that I was just talking about. So farm these every day. You also get character exclusive rank up items that you also will need for limit break. So this shield, for example, that is required to rank up Kohaku characters to rank 4 and rank 5, you need, I think, 30 of these in total for one character. So definitely get farming because it takes quite a while to max these units. If you are going to be a spender for this game, you can actually like pay, I think, £50 or $50 to get like a massive amount of paid gems, and then you also get a free ticket to exchange for one of these like solid. These are all the characters that were released from like proper banners in the past. So these are cool characters. We have like Samurai Senku, Samurai Kinro, I mean. We have this Tsukasa from the First to Be Revived series. We have Taiju here, same series, and Senku. Ukyo, A Moment of Rest. Let me see other series. The Final Battle in the Snow, Kinro, and then also Homura here. These are all from the same sort of part of the story where they try to capture Homura. There's 3 different series, so make sure that you buy the one from the ticket exchange that you actually want if you are going to buy. But I really don't recommend buying super early. Also, this artwork is so sick, man. Like, not the best character, but it's still sick artwork. But either way, I'll go through all these artworks later on at the end of the video. For now, all I'm going to say is main battle. Focus on the main battle and on missions at the start. If you are going to reroll, all you need to do is go to options here. And then under options, go to the title screen, click on the menu button here, and then delete user data, and then click delete. On that same note, make sure that you do have your account saved whenever you do like get a good reroll, which by the way, you want to reroll for a rival recruit character who is not a support unit. So data transfer, make sure that you have issued a code. And so you click on that, and then it gives you a specialized transfer code and your user ID, which doesn't change. Make sure you take a screenshot of this, because sometimes you may lose the game, and then you need to have that to get your account back. You can also go to profile, change your username, see your user ID, and then also put up your favorite character that people will see when you are in the event rankings. You can also earn titles from maxing out characters, getting a top 10 in an event, or also clearing a limited event, which is not currently up right now, but these are events where you can farm an item and then exchange it for resources. It's a pretty cool event, but it's definitely not as rewarding as the ranking event. So make sure that you are focusing on this. Of course, you should only be able to clear the normal difficulty on a new account. Now, when it comes to this screen here, the home screen, there's a lot of missions here. Just focus on the key missions here at the top left. These are the only ones that really matter. And of course, dailies. Titles don't really matter right now. As I said, you get them from maxing out characters, getting them to rank 5. Cumulative missions, these are just like missions you get for just progressing through the game. You can of course claim these as well. But key mission is the one that matters the most. And then base level up. Currently, right now it's the best time to start the game, because we have half stamina for story mode, meaning it's like super easy to progress through the game. Like usually the first few quests here are 4 stamina, but now it's only 2. So make sure you start now. You can progress through the game quick. If you are starting the game, reroll for this Ryusui. He is one of the best units right now. Honestly, I'm considering him as one of the best units I've seen so far in this game. Look at his attack stat, 13,000, and he's an area attacker. Yes, he acts very slow, but in my opinion, like, I've tested it out, and he moves like, he doesn't move that slow, like, to warrant that attack stat. Like, he is pretty broken. He also knocks back enemies. This is, of course, if you have him max skilled, but even at level 1, he is still quite amazing. 10% knockback chance, assault type ally attack increase of 8%. Yeah, this guy is busted. He also has a very strong leader skill. And also look at this artwork, bro. It's amazing. So definitely go for this guy if you are starting this game. Now when it comes to communities and resources online, let me try and show you guys some stuff. Also, the pity in this game is horrendous. You need to spend 250 pulls, which is like 75,000 cubes or gems to get the character for free. Now, I must say, this game's gacha is much more forgiving than others. Like, if you go to Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade, it's a 2.5% chance of getting an SSR character. In this game, it's 2.5% chance of getting the debut character. Like, just so that you can understand how high the rates are. SSR rate is 5%. There's a 2.5% chance of it being of the character being a premium recruit character, so from this jank pool, and then a 2.5% chance of it being the Ryusui or any of the like the headliner character that you're pulling for. So I think it's pretty forgiving. If you are rerolling, you get about 3,000 gems at the start. If you actually start now, you get 4,000. So you can do a few. I recommend doing single pulls, because if you get Ryusui early, then you can go and move on to this Gen, who is a ranged area attacker, which is quite rare to have in this game. Don't pull for these two. They're not really that good. Zeno, you really don't need him. He's not a bad character by any means, but as a new player, I think he's not the greatest unit to have. He's not going to help you much. Oh yeah, Stanley. Instead of Gen, go for Stanley. So go for Ryusui first, then for Stanley. This Stanley is the latest one, of course. He's on par with this Stanley, which is considered the best attacker in the game. So make sure you go for that one. He's essentially the same character. Very, very good. So first priority, Ryusui, then Stanley. If you are starting the game at a later point, ask me in the comments which units I think you should reroll for based on what banners are currently up. I'll make sure to answer any comments. But let's take a look at some resources before we end off the video. Okay, so these are the 5 websites that I currently have, or it's more like 3 websites. So this one at the top here, they're all in Japanese. The main ones, of course, the first two here, and then also the one at the bottom here. If you want to see all the different characters that have released in the past, then this bottom one here, I will have it in, of course, in the pinned comment and also in the description, so go check it out. Game merch and the Battlecraft pop-in games. This is the official Dr. Stone Battlecraft website, so if there is an in-game code, then to get free stuff, then you want to go to this website, or if you just want to check it out for fun, I'll also have that in the comments. And then game merch, this is just so that you can see all the different missions and the requirements, just so you can see what is ahead of you in terms of the resources you should be collecting to complete missions as efficiently as possible. I also didn't talk about exploration, but there are different exploration spots where you can get different resources. I'll actually go through those quickly and which ones you should be focusing on, especially at the start of the game. But you can also find that information in the bottom website here. So if you want to just get everything in one website, then go to this one here at the bottom, which will be in the pinned comment and the description. It is in Japanese, but Google automatically translated for you, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And then, of course, Dr. Stone Twitter accounts for both the global version and the Japanese version. You can just get your updates there on the new characters. If you aren't an active player logging in every day, it can be a great way for you to just see who is arriving in the game. But let me quickly talk about exploration and also about stamina before we end off the video. So exploration here is one of the main tabs here at the bottom, of course. Currently, I'm exploring the cave, but if you click this button here, change exploration points, of course, you can't change it in the middle of an exploration. You can also skip it with gems, but never do this. This is the worst way for you to use gems. You don't get a lot from exploration. It's a thing that gives you a lot of resources over time. At the start, you want to be exploring forest at night, just because there is a mission very early on after you make the sulfur drug, where you need to explore it 10 times. Also, I think the third mission, like one of the very first few missions, is to explore the forest at night 1 time. So make sure you start off the game exploring that. Just for the missions, it doesn't really give you the most useful resources. After that, you want to explore the riverside because you'll need a ton of iron for most of the early game. And I think that's about it. So you can also explore forest. I think that's the next most valuable one, just because of how much wood you need. And then once you start developing the sulfur drug, you'll need to explore the sulfurina area, just to get your hand on some hydrochloric acid. But that's I'm going to talk about all the different resources and materials in this game in another video. But for now, let me talk about stamina. So every time you base level up, you get an increase of 2 to your stamina bar. Stamina recovers every 3 minutes, so every hour 20 stamina will recover. You can use stamina fish to recover 10 stamina, which you usually want to save for events, and you can also use your gems. If you are taking the game casually, do not spend gems on stamina. Only if you are grinding a ranking event seriously should you be using your free gems, because as I said, these are quite rare resources. You don't want to be wasting it. But that's about it, I would say. Main story is quite easy if you are rerolling for someone like Ryusui. Like, he can literally solo these quests because they were built around the premium recruit characters, those jank pool of units that I was talking about before. But yeah, you can auto this game, but for the most part, if you are a new player, you might want to play manually just to make sure that your battle goes as optimally as possible. But it depends on which quest you're fighting. If you're going up against hard content, you want to do it manually. Otherwise, auto would be fine. So as you can see there, there's the auto button at the top left. Now, I just want to talk about like the order that units are summoned. Yoga's blocking it, but as you can see there, on the right side, you can see there's the button for leader. This is to activate your leader skill. These slots there above the leader skill, those are for items. And under each character, there's a number that shows how expensive they are to like summon and upgrade. So naturally, as time progresses in the battle, in the top right, you will have this resource. It's actually called a resource that just gathers over time. You can upgrade your resource level just to increase the cap, which is right here, and also the speed at which the resource accumulates over time. So it's quite important to make sure that you are upgrading that quite often. Besides that, the game will, on auto, it will prioritize units with low cost to summon first. It goes from left to right, units with lowest cost. That's how it works. So as you see, Francois will summon first, then Ryusui, then Tsukasa, then Hyoga. Oh no, first Matsukaze, then Hyoga. It skips Stanley because of how expensive he is. And then of course you can improve their stats by upgrading them with more resource. So make sure your offensive units are getting those upgrades, because remember, for support type units, their stats don't matter, so you don't need to upgrade them with resource. But that's just basics of battle. You should have learned that in the tutorial, but if you missed that, then there you are. I'll see you guys in the next one. This is quite a long video, but of course, this is the kind of in-depth tutorial if you are still a bit lost in the game, and also make sure you actually check it out. It's loads of fun. But I'm just going to show you guys some of the artworks, and then we can end off the video. But I won't be commentating for this part.
は戻ったぜ、ついに世界は再び俺。は戻ったぜ。
協力仕方ない。
私の力を借りたい？私の力を借りたい？やっぱよ、俺も必要でしょ。
リリアンの歌を守るためだ。
ただ一つ約束する。ただ一つ約束する。いや俺は自分にとって。いや俺は自分。この。やだよ、怖いに決まってるじゃんよ。やだよ、怖いに決まってるじゃんよ。ああ、任された仕事はしっかりこなす。
私も協力しよう。さあ、私も協力しよう。さあ、みんなの服なら任せてね。よーし。
頭が雑な大樹だ。よろしく。頭が雑な大樹だ。よろしく。この石の世界でゼロから科学文明を。この石の世界でゼロから科学文明。この石の世界でゼロから。
私も協力しよう。さあ、
ああ、任された仕事はしっかりこなそう。やだよ、怖いに決まってるじゃんよ。この石の世界でゼロから科学文明をいや俺は自分にとって美味しい方。
私も協力しよう。さあ、まずは何が。
ああ、任された仕事はしっかりこなそう。やだよ、怖いに決まってるじゃんよ。私の力を借りたい？仕方がないですね。 いや俺は自分にとって美味しい方に
協力仕方ない。
この石の世界でゼロからか
頭が雑な大樹だ。よろしく。
ただ一つ約束する。君らには
俺はクロム科学使いだ。
犠牲者ゼロを約束してくれるなら
百物語の知識が
何を作るんじゃい。ワクワク。
私も協力しよう。さあまずは何が必要なんだ。
この石の世界でゼロからか
私も協力しよう。さ協力仕方ない。
ああ、任された仕事はしっかりこなそう。
私も協力しよう。さあまず
はは戻ったぜついに。
私も協力しよう。さあみんなの服なら任せてね。よーし。百物語の知識がお役に立つといいのです。
この石の世界でゼロから科学文
私も協力しよう。さあ
いや俺は自分にとって美味しい方に
リリアンの歌を守るためだ。
この石の世界でゼロから科学文明
俺はクロム科学
私も協力しよう。さあ
俺はクロム科学使い。
この石の世界でゼロから科学
スイカもみんなのお役に立ちたいんだよ。
このマグマさん何を作るんじゃい。ワクワクし。
私も協力しよう。さあまずは
ただ一つ約束する。君らには二度と危険この石の世界でゼロから科学いや俺は自分にとって犠牲者ゼロを約束してくれるなら僕もこの石の世界でゼロから科学部
はは戻ったぜついに。世界
犠牲者ゼロを約束してくれるなら僕も協力
私も協力しよう。さあまずは
この石の世界でゼロからか
百物語の知識がお役に立つといいのですが。
ああ、任された仕事はしっかりこなそう。何を作るんじゃい。ワクワクしちゃう。はは戻った。
この石の世界でゼロから科学文
私も協力しよう。さあまずは
頭が雑な大樹だ。よろしく。考えることは全部。
この石の世界でゼロから科学文明を作り出す
リリアンの歌を守るためだ。あんたら
みんなの服なら任せてね。よーし。
やだよ。怖いに決まってるじゃんよ。何を作るんじゃい。ワクワクしちゃうの。
百物語の知識がお役に
いや俺は自分にとっておい
私も協力しよう。
俺はクロム科学使いだ。やだよ。怖いに決まってるじゃんよ。
俺は自分にとって美味しい。この石の世界でゼロから科学。いやあ、俺は自分に。この石の世界でゼロから科学文明をつ。
Okay, now not all the artworks are in the game, of course, because there's a ton of characters. So I'm on Twitter with like 20 million tabs open. I'm just going to show you guys a bunch of the characters. So we just got Ukyo Saonji from the Christmas celebration, so that's great. We also had Lillian Weinberg return, this Tsukasa who debuted at the start of the year. We also have Ryusui's birthday celebration. He was a recent character. This guy was busted. He does require a lot of dupes though. And then, of course, the most recent one was the batch with the Senku, which is when he tricks Ibara with like timing the throwing of the revival fluid. This guy is a support character. Same with Luna, who also came out about a month ago. This Tsukasa came out just before them, and he's also a character that has immense attack, but once again, he does require a lot of dupes, so I wouldn't recommend getting him on his return. Enemy or ally Hyoga, this character's trash, but pretty cool artwork. Blind Poker Ukyo, this was an event character. Then we have Blind Poker Kohaku, which is the pullable unit that came alongside the Ukyo, and this unit is impeccable. I'm a bit upset that I missed her on my main account, but it is what it is. Then we have the Dogfight Senku. I don't think we might have a Ryusui to go along with him, but he's a ranked character, this Dogfight Senku. Suika, Revolver Recruit from it's just a special character, not actually from the show. Then Byakuya, I know a lot of people would love to get their hands on him. Then we have Yo, which honestly this is the first time I even knew that this character existed, so that's pretty cool. He's once again a ranking event unit. Senku from Enjoying the Beach, so this is a character that they didn't put the Enjoying the Beach series into the tickets that I showed you guys in the game itself. Same goes for this Gen, who is a ranking event character, same series. Then we have the Ryusui, which is another arrival character that came alongside them. Then we have Sona Ukyo, who is a ranking event character that came out like very earlier on this in 2025, and this character is a part of the A Moment from 3,700 Years Ago series. Then we have the Tsukasa, which is also a part of the same series, of course, him boxing. Pretty cool artwork and good character in general. This Stanley is the second Stanley to come out. He came out after the one that I have on my own account there. So this is the second Stanley that came out. The first one is the one I have in my box, and the third one is the one that's up right now. This character has the highest attack stat in the game, about 40,000, but he attacks like incredibly slow, like once every like 20 seconds or something. It's really bad. I wouldn't recommend this character. Kinro, I don't know what his abilities are, but this is when he is invading Treasure Island with the mask. Pretty cool unit, but I don't know what he does. A Moment from 3,000 Years Ago, Taiju. Senku from the same series, A Moment from 3,700 Years Ago. Again, which is the ranking event character that came along with the batch, also A Moment from 3,000 Years Ago. Kaseki, this is a rival character. I don't know what he does. A ranking event Chrome. I've never seen this character before, but cool artwork. This Yogo, one of the best artworks in the game. He's a ranking event character. Hopefully he returns soon. A Senku from a ranking event that came alongside the Byakuya. Hopefully he also returns soon. A Nikki that came alongside Byakuya and Lillian Weinberg. She's also A Moment from 3,700 Years Ago. And then we have Industrial Revolution Kohaku, which is pretty nice. Cool artwork. Creative dev team. Then we have Yuzuriya from when she's making the fashion clothes. As you saw, there was all the fashion ranking characters that I showed you from the tickets. And then this is the first Zeno that came out. He came out before the one that is currently available. This one is a ranking even character. He's a ranged type unit, so he's offensive. I don't know what he does. I haven't seen his abilities, but I'll probably read up on that soon. But that's about it. I think for the most part, I think that's at least a decent amount of the characters available in this game. So thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more Dr. Stone Battlecraft content in the future, leave a like, subscribe, comment what you want to see. But there's a lot of different experimentation I have with the different skills, the different abilities, how much of an impact different buffs provide in actual battle, what is practically the best abilities to have and units to look out for. Of course, tier lists, I can make those, high speed early game strategy, there's so much I can do. But of course, I would love to see the support on this video. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, and I'm out.